It's boring, but it's how I've been able to make $65,000 in 180 days sports betting. And I already know what you think the secret is. You think it's picks. It's not. It's the boring habits behind the scenes that nobody wants to do. That's the whole thing people never see. So in this video, I'm gonna actually show you the boring habits and the system that I run every single day that keeps me profitable. The stuff that makes this an investment instead of a gamble. And everybody else in this space only shows you the wins, the cash out screenshots, the flashy part. I'm gonna show you the boring routine behind it that actually does the work. I've been disciplined my whole life. I was grinding at the age of 15 at McDonald's. I got cut from my middle school basketball team and came back and made the high school team all 4 years. Discipline is just who I am. The one time I let it slip, chasing and betting emotional, I lost 40 grand. But when I locked back in on the habits, I was able to stack $10,000 months consistently. So stay with me, because by the end of the video, you'll see the same exact boring habits that separate somebody who's gambling from somebody who's actually profitable sports betting. Now let's get straight into it. Now, real simple. Gambling is doing this with no structure, no plan, no prediction, no routine. You just open the app and you click on whatever looks good to you. You throwing money on the game off of feeling, based off of hope, or you just trying to make some quick cash to go out and hang with your friends tonight. What I do is the complete opposite. It's a set of boring habits that I run every single day, the same exact way, whether I feel like it or not. So let me actually show you the habits. Now, the very first thing that I do is the research, and I do it the same exact way every single day. Now, first things first, when I wake up, y'all, I literally say a prayer to God, you know what I'm saying? And then I look at the CBS Sports app before I brush my teeth or none of that. Now, the reason I do this is because I want to know what time games come on so I know how to structure my day around it. Now, most of the time, you feel me, right now, since there's no NBA, I'm betting on baseball or WNBA. But most of the time, the games start around like 6 p.m. Now, it is some days where the game start at like 12 or 1 p.m. But more times than not, the game start at 6 p.m. So on a day where games start at 6 p.m., you feel me, I'll go to the gym, I'll make some YouTube videos, and then I'll do my research around like 2 to 3 p.m. So that way I can have my plays ready 3 hours before the game start. But the first step is always looking on the CBS Sports app. I use this app just to see what time games come on. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, after I do that, the next app I use is ESPN, because I like to use ESPN just so I can see the pitcher stats, see how good the pitchers are playing, see teams' records, their records at home and their records away. And I like to look at pitchers' home and away splits. Now, all of that is very important when you're betting on baseball, so y'all make sure y'all take notes. Now, after I get done with ESPN, I head to Prop Finder. You know, on Prop Finder, I'm basically just looking at how good teams are performing against the type of pitches that this pitcher is throwing, you know, and that's very important when you researching and handicapping baseball. You got to be real sharp with this shit, y'all, so lock in. Now, after that, I'm looking at line movement, I'm looking at injuries, I'm looking at all the above, just to make sure that when I come up with my decision, there's no other factors that I need to take into account right there. And this usually takes me around 10 to 15 minutes per game, so I'm not really just researching all day long. It doesn't typically take that long, but I do like to lock in and make sure I look at everything. I'm actually somebody who treats this like a business, so I might research longer than y'all research. But if you really want to be professional, you do not need to be just bullshitting your research. You need to make sure that you're really digging in and locking in on all these games. And let me set this straight, y'all. This is not exciting. It's the same boring steps every single day. Now, my second habit is I write down all my plays. I put a green check mark if it hit and a red X if it didn't. Now, let me really show y'all, because I know some of y'all might think I'm capping, bro. But, like, I could literally scroll up or down. Man, I got bets all the way back to March, like, literally. But y'all see all them green checks? That mean the play hit. And if it's a red X beside it, then that mean the play didn't hit. But you feel me? So, I make sure I do that. I track every single bet, just so I know where my money is going. I see what sports I'm more profitable in. I see what sports I'm not the best at, you know what I'm saying? I see what sports that I need to actually lock in and do more research, maybe take my time a little bit more with, you feel me? Because if you don't track nothing, if you don't write nothing down, you're not going to know none of this. You're just going to be putting your money on bets blindly, and this week you might realize that you lost $300 and you might not even know how for real. So you want to make sure that you really tracking your bets, you feel me? So it'll all make sense. And the crazy thing is, most people never do this, and that's why they never get better. If you don't write it down, you cannot see your own patterns. Journaling is how I catch what's working and cut out what's not. And if you sitting there realizing you don't do none of this, you just pull out the app and bet off feeling and emotion, it's actually good that you're realizing it, because most people never even catch it. They don't even see how much goes on behind the scenes. And I didn't either. longer. That's how I lost mine. But seeing the habits and actually running a full system every day are two different things. So I broke my whole strategy down in a free video for you. It's the first link in the description. So when you're done here, go check that out. Now this next habit is the one people laugh at, and it might be the most important one I do, so stay with me. But the third habit, and this is the one that people don't expect from a sports bettor, but my mental game. If your mind ain't disciplined, your betting won't be either. So I work on my head just as much as I work on my research. Now look, mental health is very important. So one thing that I like to do just to make sure that I'm feeling good and I'm feeling disciplined is I stay in the gym. Every morning I'm in the gym between either 6 a.m. or 9 a.m. depending on what time I wake up, how I'm feeling, how late I go to sleep, just because I be betting on games that's on late. But I make sure I stay in the gym because it really protects my mental and it makes sure that I'm locked in and ready to attack the day. And this is what a lot of y'all don't realize, but look, hear me out. When you go to the gym, 9 times out of 10, if you go to the gym in the morning, that's the hardest thing that you're gonna have to accomplish today. You know, pushing them weights, you feel me, doing abs and cardio, that's not easy, you know what I'm saying? So pushing through that's gonna be the hardest thing that you do every day. So you're starting your day accomplishing something very hard, and then everything else that you have to do is gonna be a breeze. It's gonna be easy for you because you've already attacked the hardest thing. So this is why y'all need to make sure y'all stay in the gym and stay locked in. Also, you want to make sure you're eating right, because what you eat is how you feel. If you eating trash food, if you eat McDonald's to start your day, you're gonna feel bad throughout the day. But if you're eating healthy, if you're eating oatmeal and fruit on the wake up, and then you eating maybe some tilapia, some broccoli, some sweet potatoes for lunch, you're gonna feel good throughout your day. And this all plays a part of my mental game. It all keeps me locked in and keeps me sharp. And there's 2 mental rules I live by, because this is where most people crack. 1, I don't chase. I lose a play, I take my L, and I move on. The second you betting bigger to win back what you just lost, that ain't betting no more. That's your emotions taking over, and your emotions will empty your bank account. Now 2, I don't bet just because I'm bored. That moment you scrolling the app with nothing researched, but you throw a couple bucks on a random game just to have some action, that's the gambler. If I ain't got a real play, I don't bet. I close the app and go do something else with my day. And it sounds soft to some people, you know, keeping your head level, but staying disciplined up here is the whole game. I keep my mind boring and steady on purpose. Now the last habit I want to go over is structure. I run my day the same way, and most days I barely bet. Some days I skip completely. A normal day for me, I wake up, I look at the CBS Sports app, I see what time games come on, then I head to the gym, come back, eat, and then I get locked in and I research. But if I don't like anything that I see while I'm researching, then I'm not going to force a play. I'll just wait for some later games, or I'll just take the day completely off. I don't make no emotional bets, no boredom bets, and no chasing. Just the same boring structure over and over. That's what a real system is. This is why it's an investment, not a gamble. And that's the boring part nobody shows you. The research routine, the journaling, the mindset habits, the structure. None of it is exciting. But that right there is the difference between a gambler and somebody who's actually profitable. It ain't the picks, it's the habits. That's what makes this an investment instead of a gamble. And look, just building even a couple of these habits already puts you ahead of most people out here, because most of them are still betting off feeling with no routine at all. But here's the honest part. Knowing the habits and actually running them every single day, even when you don't feel like it, that's a whole different thing. I broke the whole thing down for you in a free video, and it's the first link in the description. Now this ain't for everybody though. If you just want excitement and the lock of the day, then that's not me. You can keep scrolling. But if you're ready to put in the boring work and treat this like an investment, go watch that breakdown right now and you'll see exactly how it all fits together. Now it's your boy Dez. I'm imdesTV, the best TV, and we out.
Come from the trenches, now everything different. I just hope that they know I'm the same. I'm the same, only thing is my name. Still in there, yo, and I'm paying a pain pitch. I just hope that they can see the vision. It be soon that they pay for attention.